Hi guys. Hi Melania and Emanuela.
Hi Melania, hi Emanuela.
And hi again to Emanuela because I think we had her this morning. I'm Emily. I'm from Cambridge in the UK.
And I'm Gabriel. I'm from Birmingham, which is also in the UK. And we are both at the Ponte Lungo School in Rome.
Yeah.
If there's anyone else there, please introduce yourself. But today we're going to be talking about describing your city, describing what there is in a city, describing what cities are like. So we're looking for descriptions there and superlatives as well.
Okie doke.
Good.
Chiara. From Milan. And Luca. Luca we had before. Pirilli. Good.
Good.
Okay. So to Gabe.
So do you live in the city or the country?
I live
I think we all have people living. Go on.
All people living in what?
In fairly urban scenarios, that's far, but
yeah.
Go on. Where do you live, Emily?
I live in the city, in Rome. And I think I have always lived. No, that's not true. But I live in the city now, in Rome. And you?
I live in the city as well, and I always lived in the city in the past as well. Birmingham, London, and Rome. Yeah.
So we have
Leonardo, and we have Caterina.
Leonardo and Caterina we've met before as well.
Yes.
Maybe not today, but definitely on YouTube.
Yes, I'm sure.
I remember Caterina from Livorno. Live in a village, but San Lazzaro is like a city.
A small town nearby Novara.
Very nice.
I live in a village.
Manuela, it's like a city in what sense? But village is good vocabulary. So we have a big place is a city. A medium place is a town. And a very small place is a village.
Yeah.
In a small town near Salerno.
Ilenia from Bari. And Melania. Melania lives in a small town near Salerno. Excellent, good.
So what are some advantages? Or Melania lives in a village.
In a small village.
Yeah. What are some advantages of living in a city? And what are some disadvantages? I see what Emanuela means. It's like a city because it's bigger and it's close to Bologna. So some advantages of living in a city and some disadvantages. I think there are lots of advantages and lots of disadvantages.
What are some advantages, guys? Watch out you don't miss your subject there. It is a big village.
To Emanuela.
Just to Emanuela, yeah. I'm sure you know this, but yes.
Ah. So we got some good suggestions. We all know each other, but it isn't an advantage. So Melania, do you mean we all know each other in the sense that you have a lot of people in the city, you have a lot of people in a smaller space, so you are always, there are always other people near you. And then the advantage is that you have all comforts with an S after all. Yeah, absolutely. You have all the comforts of being in a big city, you can access everything. And then I think living in a city is good because you have all the services available and there are more activities to do. So it's
More activities.
Good.
Fantastic. Yeah. Do a lot of things. We would probably say, and again, we have the activity side too. So we would probably say advantages of living. Again, we would stick with the ing form here. The advantages of living in a city.
And then we also need the verb here for the rest of your sentence, are that it is possible to do a lot of things, which is absolutely true. I think it's a similar point to Emanuela. You have all the comforts and also Luca, all the services available. And Caterina, living in a city is better and more convenient because of transportation, markets, shopping, libraries. Okay, yeah, that's a good sentence, Caterina. Yeah, I think for your second part, we would say even with traffic, which is uncountable, so it's not plural, even with traffic, queues, and pollution also uncountable, so not plural. Even with traffic, queues, and pollution. Very nice. Chiara. I live in Milan. One of the advantages of living in Milan, it's a very nice structure. One of the advantages of living in Milan is a metro, tram. Instead, one of the disadvantages, which you've got it right, one of the disadvantages of living in Milan is pollution. Yeah.
Pollution, yeah.
Absolutely.
And from Ilenia, we have, I love the confusion of the city. Another advantage of the city is that all services. You could say all services as well. Yeah. All services are near.
Very nice.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah.
I like your idea that you love the confusion of the city. I like this aspect as well. I think for a lot of people, the confusion is more of a negative aspect, but I like to have the big crowds of people that it feels very energetic sometimes living in a city. The advantages usually are traffic and pollution. Emmanuel, I think you mean the disadvantages are usually traffic and pollution, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. All right.
What is your city famous for, guys? The advantages of living in a city are traffic and pollution. Yeah, disadvantages. Yeah, well corrected, Luca. What is your city famous for? What's your city famous for, Emily?
Oh, my city. I'm from Cambridge.
Mhm.
So my city is famous for the university. I think, yeah, it's a very famous, very old, prestigious university. And it's famous for the physical university, the building, but also for lots of people, lots of famous scholars have lived in Cambridge. So Newton, Darwin, Wittgenstein, lots of writers, English writers, E.M. Forster.
Intellectual hub, isn't it?
Yeah. What is your city famous for, Gabe?
My city is famous for the Industrial Revolution, I think. I'm from Birmingham in the UK, and Birmingham was at the centre of the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century. So it's quite famous for industry and pollution in a way.
Yeah. I like the sentences we've got so far. Lucas says, my small town is not so famous, but Novara is famous for rice fields, gorgonzola, and lots of mosquitoes. It's also famous for the cupola of Gaudencio. Lovely. Really good sentence.
Excellent writing, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do the next? Leonardo lives in
And Leonardo says, my city is famous for the landscapes like the Colosseum or the Spanish Square. I think we tend to it tends to be known as the Spanish Steps, doesn't it? In English, I think.
Yeah.
I think most people would probably call it the Spanish Steps in English, just because that's what that section is most well known for in English, certainly. Monuments and history. Yeah.
I mean, Rome is such a famous city. And I'm just going to put for Leonardo, I'm going to put the English translation. We don't say the Colosseo in English. We say the Colosseum. But it's a very small thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chiara from Milan.
Yeah.
It was right, wasn't it? Milan says, my city is famous for fashion. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. And Emanuela, my city is famous for tortellini, towers, San Luca, and Piazza Maggiore. There is also a Lucio Dalla's song dedicated to Piazza Maggiore. I don't remember where Emanuela was from. From Bologna.
From the town near Bologna.
Yeah.
The village near Bologna. The village that feels like a city near.
Yeah. I think her description here refers to Bologna rather than
I assume if there's a
Ilenia. My city is
and we have from Ilenia.
The Norman Swabian Castle. Basilica of San Nicola.
That's Bari. That's Bari, isn't it?
I don't know. But the south of Italy has a lot of Norman architecture, definitely.
It's Norman, yeah. It's not. Yeah, I think that's Bari, isn't it?
And for a wonderful waterfront or seafront, Ilenia, both correct. Our wonderful waterfront is good. Really nice, guys. Those were some great descriptions.
Lovely.
Yeah, very good. Okay. So, cities of the world, compare cities from across the world. We're looking at superlatives here. And we have two examples as a reminder, a review. Big becomes in the superlative the biggest. Expensive becomes in the superlative the most expensive. Guys, what is the difference? Why does big go to the biggest, but expensive goes to the most expensive? And Caterina, my city, Livorno, is not one of the most famous cities in Italy, but it is near the sea and it has a little beautiful port history and culture. Yeah. I visited Livorno.
Fantastic. Yeah, good sentence.
Yeah, it's a great sentence. But I visited Livorno in February 2 years ago, and it was very grey and cold. So I want to go back to Livorno in the
I
summer.
want to have another go when it's nice weather. Yeah.
Okay.
And Leonardo has put short or long. Yes, long adjective. Big. No expensive.
Expensive is not a adjective. So to Chiara, Oh, Leonardo. Yeah, great. Yeah. But for Chiara, expensive is not a compound adjective, but a long adjective. Okay, everyone's got it. Yeah, perfect, guys.
Yeah, well done, guys.
Do you want to explain?
Looking at, sorry, I just wanted to respond quickly. There was only a minor correction that I had for Katerina's sentence, which, sorry, I was distracted there. There's only a minor correction I had, which was the sentence you had was absolutely brilliant. It's just, we would probably say it has a beautiful little port. We tend to swap those two round. It's a very minor correction, but because you wrote such a brilliant sentence, I kind of wanted to just make it perfect. It has a beautiful little port. There's a very minor correction there.
And for, yes, so to Elenia's question, the difference is the length of the words. Big, 1 syllable. Expensive, 3 syllables. And Leonardo's given a great one. St. Petersburg is the coldest city in the picture. Absolutely. Yeah, so we'll just talk about these 9 cities, guys. So give us some sentences and we'll check that it's one of the coldest cities in the world. Very nice, Luca. So Luca is actually ahead. He's using one of the constructions from the next slide, but that's fine. That's a very nice sentence. More examples, guys. You can choose any city. You don't have to talk about St. Petersburg and then London or Florence. Any city that you like and any adjective that you like. So
if the adjective is longer.
That's great.
If it's longer, I must put the adjective most.
That's a great.
Yeah, excellent, Katerina. In both of these cases, there is the in front of all, the easiest and the most famous. Superb. Yeah.
Really, really nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, because Katerina talked about 2 syllables, I'm going to elaborate on this. So Katerina, you have said, if the adjective is long until 2 syllables, I must add at the end est. This is true for famous and modern, and do we have boring? No, but also for boring. So famous, modern, boring, 2 syllables. So, wait, I've confused myself. Okay. I'm going to have to write this out to make it clear because I'm confusing everybody. If the adjective is 2 syllables and finishes with the letter Y, epsilon, it is short. If the adjective is 2 syllables and finishes with a different letter, it is long. So Ugly.
We have ugliest.
The ugliest. But modern. The most modern. Okay, cool. The most famous, like Ilenia has written. Florence is the most famous city for culture. Great. Rio de Janeiro is one of the best cities. Really nice. I think Rio de Janeiro is the most dangerous city. Absolutely, yeah.
It's a dangerous city.
It is a very dangerous city. So for Leonardo's sentence for Paris, I think Paris is one of the most romantic city in the world. Really good, but because you've used the construction one of the, we would have to say one of the most romantic cities, plural. But really good. London is the most expensive. Unfortunately.
Yes.
That's probably true. New York is very expensive as well. I don't know which one is worse.
Yeah.
What about interesting, guys? Which city is the most interesting and why?
Chiara is given as, I think Rio de Janeiro is the most interesting.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
From above. The feed is just so quick at the moment. No, we have a few from above.
With interesting.
Manuela said Rome is the most interesting city because there is a lot of history. History would be uncountable in this sense. There is a lot of history. And sites is countable. So there is a lot of history. There are a lot of sites.
Yeah. It's a funny thing in English. So with there is and there are, if the noun is singular or uncountable, even if you have a list, then we still say there is. So for example, in my bedroom or in Rome, there is the Colosseum and the Pantheon and the Forum. Even though we have three things, each thing is singular. So we use there is. There is the Pantheon and the Colosseum and the Forum. If the nouns are plural, like sites, we say there are a lot of sites. I think Rome is one of the most interesting cities in the world for its monuments and history. Very nice. Probably because most interesting cities in the world. No, actually, that's good with 4. I like that. Leonardo. I think London is one of the most interesting because there are a lot of different people and culture. Yeah, and cultures. There are a lot of different people and cultures. Really nice.
Yeah, and we have one from not on the list. Dublin is the most expensive city. Dublin is also very expensive, yeah.
Yeah. Okie doke.
Yeah. Super. Transportation. Okay. So, guys, what kinds of public transportation are there in your city? And maybe we compare that up with the second one. What is the easiest way to get around in your city?
To get around
Just
is
so we have a So, yeah, what kinds of public transport are there and what is the easiest way to get around? Please use a full sentence using the superlative easiest.
Yeah, good. So for Elenia's question, she says, I would like to make differences with other cities, but how? So Elenia, for this, you need a comparative, because you're right, a superlative only refers to one place. It's the most of something. With more than one city, we would use a comparative. So for example, London is more expensive than Rome. So we need this than in comparatives. Expensive is a long adjective, so more expensive than Rome. If we used a short adjective, Rome is cheaper than London. I'll write that for you.
Mm.
Do you want to deal with the other comments while I write to?
Yeah, sure.
Manuela?
So we have from Luca, in Navarra, there are buses and taxis. We don't have the tram or metro. Yeah, good. What's the easiest way to get around in Navarra then? Would you say it's the buses and taxis? We have from Katerina, walking and riding a bicycle are the least expensive. Nice, lovely. Or the cheapest. Good. And the least expensive transportation or the cheapest transportation. We would probably say, for that, Katerina, we would probably say the cheapest mode of transportation or the cheapest way of transportation, just because we're talking about method and means in this sense. But that's a really good sentence too.
Or type.
Manuela, in my city there are buses. Type of transportation. Type. Means of transportation. In my city.
Good. Buses and cabs. Good. Those are some pretty good answers. What are you confused? You look like you're processing something, Gabe.
No.
Okay. So what is the worst time of day to travel in your city? Metro is the easiest way to get around in Milan, but bicycle is the worst way because it's very dangerous. Okay, yeah. Good, great sentence.
From Luca, the easiest way to get around in my city is by bus. Taxi is another way, but it's very expensive. Yeah. Fantastic. Good.
Hi, Rita.
And hello, Rita. In Milan, there are all types of public transportation, but the fastest is the subway. Yeah?
Yeah. Great.
Subway, nice.
The easiest way to
get around Bologna is bus or bicycle. Nice.
Leonardo's comment. In my city, there aren't enough public transportation, but there are some tram, few buses, underground. Okay, let's look a little at this. In my city, so transportation is uncountable. So we need the verb to be singular. In my city, there isn't enough public transportation. And then for the rest, you've got trams, buses. These are countable. There are some. So we good, there are, but on tram, be careful to remember the S for the plural. There are some trams, a few buses, and then for your final thing, for the underground, we would say lines, I think. There are a few underground lines.
Yeah, the same comment about uncountable and countable, I would say also to Elenia's example, the public transportation is uncountable. That's a whole thing. So we could say the public transportation. Or you could say kinds of public transportation. That is countable because you can say the several kinds. You can say bus, train, taxi. So either, Eleni, I think it's best to say with your example, the kinds of public transportation in my city include the bus, the train, and the taxi, just so we can have a countable way of saying it. The easiest way to get around in my city is the bus. Fantastic. Good.
Yeah. And then we have from Luca, the worst time to travel is in the rush hour. Good vocab. The rush hour. Emanuela, the worst time of day to travel in Bologna is 7 to 8:30 in the morning and 5 to 7 in the afternoon. Yeah. And so Emanuela, that's great. You've given us you've described the rush hour, which is what the word that Luca used. The rush hour is the busy time of the day when everybody is going to work or everybody is coming home from work. And Leonardo, in my opinion, the best way to get around Rome is the scooter. Great. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, great stuff.
Best way to get around is the scooter. Yeah. Maybe we need to get some scooters, Emily.
Yeah. That would be fun. Leonardo, do you have a scooter? Do you travel around Rome by scooter? And well, people have talked a bit about how expensive things are, saying taxis are expensive. What is the cheapest way to get around to travel in your city? And the most expensive, I guess. Yeah, I agree with Leonardo. Most expensive way to travel in Rome is taxi. Taxis are pretty expensive. Yeah.
The cheapest way to get around in my city is by bus. Good, Luca?
Very good. Or your private car. Yeah.
By private car.
Or on foot. Even cheaper than the bus. If you walk. Okay, should I go forward?
Yep.
Okay.
So here we have a matchup using some new descriptive words on the left. Answering the question, what's your city like? When we use the word like in this sense, we're asking for a description, aren't we? We're not asking, do you like the city, as in, do you enjoy the city? We're asking for a description of the characteristic of the city. Yeah. So for the column on the right, we have very dirty, big, historical, art, theatre, music, crowded, full of activity, not cheap, very busy or noisy.
And we want the synonyms. We want to connect with synonyms here. Maybe before we do this, we could look at some of the comments from the last page. So Emanuela says the cheapest way to travel in Bologna is bicycle, moped or bus. The most expensive is by cab, absolutely. The cheapest way to get around in my city is by bus. Good. The most expensive way to travel in Milan is taxi. Yeah, you go.
The cheapest way is bicycle or on foot. Perfect. Excellent. On foot is the cheapest on food. That's a good typo. Good. Okay. So if we start with large, what's a synonym for large?
Okay, great. Rita's got it.
Yep.
Large means big. And this is a bit of a false friend. Large, like Rita says, large is a synonym of big. Large does not mean largo, but it means big.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, ancient. And careful with practice the pronunciation at home, guys, because it's a little tricky sometimes. Ancient. So we have a long ain and then a ch, ancient. And everyone's got the right answer.
Historical, good. Touristy.
This is a little strange, this one. I think Luca is right.
I think so too. I don't think it's a great synonym.
No.
If we say touristy, I think touristy denotes or means the type of activity or even the location in which a lot of tourists might congregate in a way. So you could say that going to the Colosseum is a very touristy activity, isn't it? Or you could say also that it's a very touristy area.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could say Rome is a touristy city.
Mm-hmm.
But crowded isn't quite right. It means popular with tourists. Yeah. Because a place can be crowded.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go to
have anything to do with tourism.
Yeah. But guys, I see why lots of people chose different ones, because it's a little strange. These aren't really synonyms. So polluted, we've got, everyone's got this.
Very dirty. Excellent.
Very dirty, yeah. Good. Chaotic.
Chaotic.
And again, be careful with the pronunciation. Chaotic. Yeah, I think everyone's got this. Very busy, noisy.
Cultural. And that's a sound as well. Cultural, not cultural. It's cultural. We have a deep sound.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Lovely. Art, theatre, music. Excellent.
Yeah. Leonardo for chaotic suggested full of activity. And in a sense, that's true as well. A very busy place is a place that is full of activity. But we have another adjective to connect with this one. Okay, everyone's got the next one. Expensive, not cheap. Good.
And lively. Full of activity.
Full of activity.
Yeah.
So I think the difference between chaotic and lively is that chaotic has a more negative sense and lively has a more positive sense. Chaotic is, I mean, not grammatically, but for the meaning. So chaotic is a bad thing and lively is a good thing.
Chaotic implies disorder, I think, as well, to some
Yeah.
extent. I think often chaos is disorder, it's negative.
Yeah. So, guys, what is your city like? Which of these adjectives is appropriate for your city? So I could say, when we answer, we just say, my city is. You don't need to repeat like. So, for example, Cambridge, my city, is very historical. It is quite cultural. It's very expensive. It's the university is lively, but I think the city is not lively. And it's clean. It's not dirty.
Lucas says, his city is polluted and a little bit expensive. It is also an ancient city. Yeah, fantastic.
Great. Was Luca
Nice.
from Bali? I don't remember where everyone was from now.
No.
Oh, Novara.
Novara, wasn't it?
Yeah. More examples, guys. Sentences from everybody. Leonardo, Emanuele, Elenia. We have Caterina. Rita. What about Birmingham, Gabe?
Birmingham is quite large for UK standards. It's quite a large city. It's quite modern. It's very chaotic, I would say, and quite polluted. We have a lot of industry, and there is a lot of pollution, I would say. It is very cheap, however, I would say, there, and has a reasonable amount of culture too, probably unknown to the rest of the UK.
Yeah.
And it's very lively, I would say, as well.
Yeah.
The city is crowded and chaotic, but it's also lively. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
Bologna is historical.
Bologna is
cultural, just a little touristy and expensive. It is not very large. So, Emanuela, be careful with your second sentence. We need the subject. It is not very large. Great.
Touristy is an interesting adjective, I think, because it could also, depending on how you use it, it could be positive or negative, I think, couldn't it? I think it often gets used in a negative context, but I think it could be used in both a positive or a negative sense. I tend to use it in a negative sense because heavily touristy places irritate me.
Yeah, me too.
But there are times, I think, when it's kind of fun to indulge in.
Yeah. Actually, I think for Cambridge, I should have said touristy, because in the summer, Cambridge is very, very touristy. It's easy to visit from London So people come for a day from London, and also there are a lot of school children study English. So often there are lots of Spanish and Italian school children visiting the town. So we've got lots of other answers. My city is polluted and cheaper than other cities like Rome or Milan. Good comparative there. Cheaper than other cities. Rita,
Yeah.
Milan is touristy, cultural, it's lively too, and very expensive. Yeah. Rome is very touristy and historical, in the center in particular. No, in the center is perfect. Oh, I see what you mean, Leonardo. So we could say, in the center in particular, or we could say above all in the center. I think that's what it means.
Or are you spelling centre differently? I thought it might be the spelling of centre. So if we spell centre with an R-E, I don't know if this is what you were asking, Leonardo, but this is a guess.
You're right, Gabe.
If we spell centre R-E, that's the British spelling. The Americans tend to spell it with an E-R. Both are absolutely fine. It's just if you're going to use one or the other, just be consistent with it, I think. This goes for the same for words like theatre, for instance. In the UK, we spell theatre R-E. In the States, they spell theatre E-R.
Yeah, and also meter.
Yeah. There are quite a few words like this when you have this R-E-E-R difference. The R-E is closer to the French, is the French spelling as well. So it's kind of makes more sense that I think the British one would be kind of in mind closer to the French.
Yeah.
Because we haven't changed much. We haven't changed our language much, I think, from from some of the older spellings. Whereas the Americans tend to make things more practical, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
If that makes sense.
I'm gonna delete what I had written because I think it's not useful. Okay, good. Very thoroughly answered Leonardo's question.
I probably over-explained it. Sorry, guys.
I can't remember what's next. Okay, so this is good. We can do this in the last 2 minutes, especially because you guys have practiced before when we were using superlatives. We used lots of people already formed this type of construction. So this is a way that we can use superlatives, and we're not saying that this aspect is the number one, but that it's at the top. So we have St. Peter's Basilica is one of the largest cathedrals in the world. So not necessarily number one, but in the top group. The Louvre is one of the most famous museums in the world. So let's start with this first one. Is one of the places to visit in my city. Give us an example like this, guys, for your city. So I could do one for Cambridge. King's College Chapel is one of the most interesting places.
Duomo is one of the most interesting places to visit in Milan. Excellent. Fantastic, Rita. The
seven churches.
7 churches. I'm not sure if.
So yeah, I can't remember where.
7 churches. I'm.
Sette chiese. Okay.
Is that the okay? Interesting.
Oh, good. We need to
Google
this information, Emanuela. I want to understand better
yes.
what it is. But we have to finish, guys. We've got lots of other good examples. Lago Maggiore is one of the most
These are great.
places. Yeah. Castello
Basilica of
Sotterra.
San Nicola is one of the most interesting places to visit in Paris. Yeah.
Really good.
Sette chiese. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, we weren't familiar with that, Emanuela.
We have to finish.
Fantastic. But from the example, you guys seem to be on top of that. Good. All right.
Oh, wow. 7 churches, one inside the other. We need to find out about this. Yeah.
I'm looking it up as we speak. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm going to finish.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.